I know what this place is. The Timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
We protect the proper flow of time. You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality. I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki perspective.
Do I get a weapon?
Nah.
You really believe in this Loki variant?
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us.
Why? It is adorable that you think you could possibly manipulate me. I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
You're not big on trust, are you?
You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just dropped a brand new Loki trailer with a whole bunch of new Easter eggs for the Thor movies, the Avengers movies, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes, so be sure to subscribe to get everything. We're doing a giveaway for Disney Plus memberships too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave your favorite Easter egg from the trailer. So we'll just go through this shot by shot and talk about Easter eggs as we go along. But it looks like this is right after they capture him with the Tesseract. Like, they're able to track the Tesseract or the other Infinity Stones as they control the flow of time, because the Time Variance Authority is all about sanctioning the official timelines, gardening the timeline, so to speak. If you've seen Rick and Morty, it's exactly like the Time Police. And also, big coincidence too, Rick and Morty connection, the showrunner for the Loki series also came from the Rick and Morty series. But this is obviously right after they capture him with the Tesseract and bring him back to their facility outside of space-time, or outside of normal space-time within the MCU. The way they talk about the timeline being broken here, they're just talking about the main MCU timeline. There are many different sanctioned timelines that they have, so this is actually just one of them. But the way they talk about these alternate branch timelines, those become fully alternate realities with alternate versions of all the characters. But the whole idea here is that this is a version of Loki who never went through the events of Thor the Dark World. He never had his redemption arc. The last thing that he remembers is getting thrashed by the Hulk and then captured by the Avengers, humiliated by them. So he is pissed off right now. But as he says during the trailer, he actually does have knowledge of the Time Variance Authority. He's aware of their existence. We can now see some of the signs all over the walls here, the doors, just to explain where all these different places are that they visit during the trailer. So this is the interior of their archives with basically the entirety of recorded history, every single thing that's ever happened to every single person. Like later in the trailer when he's talking to the bureaucrat in that little office where he says, please verify that these are all the things that you've ever said in your entire life. These three statues are of the Timekeepers themselves. They're the people that founded the Time Variance Authority. Because the Time Variance Authority mostly comes from the Thor in the Fantastic Four comics, there's a big theory that they're going to introduce the idea of Kang the Conqueror through Easter eggs through this series. Supporting this theory, some websites are reporting that Ngugum Bathum Ra is playing Ravana Renslayer, the character from Marvel Comics, who is the love interest of Kang the Conqueror. So one of the big theories going into Ant-Man 3, where we're going to see Kang for the first time, is that he was at one time a timekeeper, because he is a master of time. He's a big time travel villain in the MCU. They take you on a bit of a tour of the Time Variance Authority through a lot of the different floors. As the camera spins around a little bit like an hourglass, there's an hourglass motif built into a lot of the walls and the designs of the building itself. Like, look at the doors of the elevator here. It's all little carved hourglasses. You also probably noticed there are clocks everywhere, all over the place, and a lot of them actually denote different timelines. Loki trying to sass his way out of the situation the same way he did during the first Avengers movie, because remember, he's literally coming from the events of that first Avengers movie, so he just did the same thing to Nick Fury inside that chamber for the Hulk. You notice Owen Wilson's character in the background there? He's actually playing a character named Mobius M. Mobius, which is obviously meant to be a palindrome, even though technically it's spelled wrong if it's going to be a true palindrome. But you get the joke, it's all just meant to be a play on the idea of time. I'm also getting a very Hitchhiker's Guide vibe from a lot of these offices, like a very British sense of humor with the way the bureaucracy is structured in here, just humor around bureaucracy. Let's create as many different lines and queues we can, like everyone to queue up to just stand in line for another hour. It's almost like being at Comic-Con. These other people wearing the jumpsuits, obviously just other people that they've captured because they've been messing with the timeline in ways that they don't sanction. The way they cut the trailer is a little misleading. This is actually the scene where he queues up his life and he shows him all the things that he just did during the events of the Avengers film. This is them basically reading him his rights, like, okay, these are all the things that you did that led up to you breaking the timeline, and this is why you have to fix it. I also love the little details that they work into this too. Like, they want to make this feel as claustrophobic and alienating as possible. Like, it's not just Loki that they're messing with here. They want to give anybody that sits in this room an anxiety attack. Notice that the bureaucrat there has a cat in the background who's just kind of sitting there chilling out, but he also has a mug with his cat's picture on it too. But we actually get some really helpful information when they pull this document out, even though it's ridiculous that he has to sign everything that he's ever said. They denote that he is Loki variant number L1130, meaning he is the 1130th version of Loki. That should give you an idea for how long the series could run. That's why this is one of the few series, the Marvel Disney Plus series, that they've already greenlit for a season 2. Most of you could probably tell, too, the whole idea with the shifting logo here and all the letters in the background, as it shifts from Loki green to Marvel red, you notice that all the characters are just variants on different fonts of Loki's name. It's just meant to denote the many alternate versions of Loki in all these different time streams. You get a better look at some of their control rooms as he takes them in and explains what's going on with the time stream. This is basically meant to denote the main MCU time stream before the events of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. It's that whole speech that the Ancient One gave to the Hulk. Like, you take this Infinity Stone and don't bring it back to where you took it from, and you doom this reality. That's why in a lot of these alternate timelines where you see in the future, you just see like the Earth burning in the background, like the rubble of the Avengers Tower in this version of Earth, this version of President Loki that seems like he's ruling over some post-apocalyptic wasteland. They're just hyping up that everything goes to complete crap in every one of these timelines that Loki has completely messed with because he took the Tesseract from that one reality. All the different monitors here with different clocks and different A numbers are meant to denote different time streams. Most of you probably guessed the twist here too, when Loki is asking Owen Wilson's character, why do you need me? And he says, oh, I need your unique Loki perspective, because in all these branching timelines, it's always Loki that's messing with things that leads to whatever version of Earth you are in these different realities going to complete crap. So it's this Loki going around hunting down all these alternate Lokis in all these branched timelines. So Loki is both the main villain and the hero of his own series. Then even though we don't spend a whole lot of time in this first alternate reality that he takes him to, it's actually a Ren fair. You see these people walking around in the background in medieval-looking clothing, but this is probably Owen Wilson's character just showing him the ropes. And of course, the back of his jacket says variant, because he is a variant of the main version of MCU Loki. Remember, the main MCU Loki died during Avengers Infinity War. When this Loki stole the Tesseract and created the branch timelines, he became an alternate reality Loki. That's why he's a variant. Even if you're not a big comic book reader, you'll probably remember the name Roxxon. They show up in a bunch of different Marvel series and in the movies just a little bit. They're more of a natural resources company, but the way they're playing this, it's sort of like a Roxxon version of Walmart that they're going to take out whatever this alternate version of Loki has done here. This hooded figure, though, seems like it's going to be female Loki the way they're hyping her up, because she was also in the other trailer footage taking out that other agent. Like, you see her take out these Time Variance Authority agents and then drag one through another portal, or use him to open another portal somewhere. Technically speaking, I don't know if she's meant to be the main antagonist of the series, but just the way they're hyping her up in all the different trailers they've released so far, it seems like she's one of the bigger versions of Loki than the others we've seen so far. Like, there are many Lokis, but some of them are bigger characters than others during the series. It's this character here where you see our alternate Loki sitting down like he's talking to her, like they're just gonna have a little chat, two different versions of Loki, him talking to the female version of himself. Cannot wait to see what that's like. More hourglasses and more statues of the timekeepers all over Gugum Bathum Ra's office. They're just using footage like this to just play on the idea that he's going to also continually try to pull a fast one on them throughout the series. Really hard to tell what has happened in this version of Earth. This looks like some quarry or some post-apocalyptic wasteland nightmare, but this is the scene where you see him talking to female Loki. We get a way better look at the inside of the Time Variance Authority and the other buildings that make up their giant structure. Then we see a version of Loki in an alternate reality version of Asgard ruling on the throne. This seems like another alternate version of the timeline where he pretended to be Odin, ruled over Asgard, and then obviously you wind up with Ragnarok. Really hard to tell what's going on with this structure too. This could just be an alternate version of Asgard as well, or some alternate place. It seems like it's going to be the lair of female Loki, whichever lair she winds up coming from, because you see a version of what looks like her fighting in this outfit here, even though she's spinning around so fast that you can't get a look at her face. It just seems like they're hyping this up as darkest timeline Loki. Like if we're talking about Rick and Morty metaphors and Easter eggs, think about evil Morty to the other Mortys. The really cool thing about this fight scene, though, is that you actually see him using a blast of green magic that we haven't seen him use before in the MCU. So Scarlet Witch gets her power from chaos magic, that's why it's red. Doctor Strange draws his magic from another reality, that's why it's a slightly different color. Agatha Harkness's magic is purple because she actually takes magic from other people to power herself up. And they haven't explained too much about where Loki draws his magical energy from, so hopefully they'll get into more of his character's history as well during the series. This very Blade Runner looking scene just seems like them in the future of one of these alternate timelines. This is just the big DB Cooper scene, like they're trying to say that Loki is a version of DB Cooper in one of these realities, the person who was never found. They even have the Easter egg here of the couple dollar bills flying out as he's grabbed by the Bifrost. Like when he jumps out of the back of the plane, he says, Heimdall, brother, talking to a version of Thor, whichever reality's in here. I hope you're ready, as they grab him midair. If you're not familiar with the story of DB Cooper, he was a real figure who robbed a bunch of banks, but they never found his body. They only found some dollar bills. This is our main variant Loki just fighting other Time Variance Authority cops. I'm assuming this scene is of him from a similar scene where he lands in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and we're just seeing the other side of the shot. We're seeing his reaction to everything like, wait, what happened to New York City? Whatever he's done here, whatever's happening in the background with this giant explosion, it totally reminds me of that scene from Iron Man 1, the very iconic Iron Man scene with him raising his arms up as the dust envelops him. But like I said, they have renewed it for season 2, and obviously Loki will show up during Thor 4 Love and Thunder at some point. So that's sort of the connection to the big Marvel movies, but obviously I think some of this will also set up what's happening during Ant-Man and the Wasp, because Kang the Conqueror, big time travel villain, this is all about time travel in the MCU. I have done a couple Thor 4 Love and Thunder videos. They've released some footage from the set, so I'll post links to that in the description below. But if you spotted any of the big Easter eggs during the trailer that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments, and leave all your video requests in the comments below. While you wait for everything, you can click here for that brand new Thor 4 Love and Thunder teaser and that footage breakdown, and you can click here for my brand new Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 4 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.